All right, so I would like to start off by thanking you for doing this interview with me.
No problem.
And just to remind you that your participation is voluntary. If at any time you want to stop or take a break, we can do that and then resume the interview. And if you ever need me to clarify any questions, we can.
Okay.
All right, so my first question for you is why did you decide to attend the HBCU?
This is going to sound kind of biased, but seeing as though I'm African American, I feel that it was not my duty, but it would just be a better experience. A lot of schools, PWI-wise, they won't give you the culture that you need as an African American student, and honestly, it's just important. And plus, second, post high school education is important anyway. So that's why I decided to attend the HBCU.
All right, and you said that you feel as though you wouldn't get, like, as an African American student, PWIs won't necessarily provide what you need.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think HBCUs have that the PWIs do not?
We have staff that can kind of relate to what we go through. We also have staff that care. I mean, and it's just good to see. It's good and motivating to see black teachers, honestly.
Black teachers. All right. And do you feel as though with attending, with your choice to attend the HBCU, is it more of what is the atmosphere like for you? Is it more of some people say that they attended because it's almost like a family environment, like you feel like you're at home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you would know what's the difference between the growth of a student at the HBCU or the growth of a student at the PWI?
At an HBCU, you could just kind of tell, because we take pride in our school. Like, I mean, PWIs take pride too, but it's just something about attending the HBCU that's just unexplainable. And honestly, it does help you grow. It's like a family environment. You really don't see a lot of drama or anything like that.
All right. And what has your experience been so far at the HBCU?
My experience has been great, other than financial aid office. I mean, everything else is pretty good.
All right. Could you explain some of your positive experiences that you've had since you've been here?
I've been to different events like RUAF, which is a Christian group. I've been to some of their meetings. They have some good things going. The band is good. The football games are exciting. Basketball games are exciting. And the overall education process is good too.
Do you think, with your experience that there's something different with the activity-wise, maybe with the band, the games, or anything in the environment that a HBCU that a PWI does not necessarily provide?
The whole atmosphere of fun, like let's take a football game for example. Hearing a black college marching band is just like on a whole nother level. It give you just a great feeling. But don't get me wrong, PWI bands are okay, but they kind of traditional. They don't really play like current songs or get the crowd into it, and that's pretty much it.
All right. With your experience, your positive experience at the HBCU, is it maybe because you're in your sophomore year, right?
Yes.
So is there maybe one experience that you will remember for the rest of your life that you can't forget? Maybe something that may have in a way shaped you or changed you thus far in your experience here.
I mean, I can't say I had that experience yet, but I mean, I will always remember attending Jackson State University simply because it's a great school.
All right, and from being here, what is, when you decided to come to Jackson State and you decided that you wanted to attend the HBCU, what experience did you say something that you wanted to get from these universities?
It wasn't nothing specific that I really wanted. I knew from jump that I just wanted to go to a HBCU. It just seemed like I can't even explain it. I just knew that I was going there from not before high school. I just knew, like, okay, well, it's school that's dedicated to us as a culture, so why not go there?
And do you think it's important to have schools that's dedicated to African American students?
Yes, I do. Simply because that give us something to take pride in. Looking at the news, a lot of bad things going on, but also it's a lot of great things going on within these HBCUs. You got a lot of African Americans graduating, getting careers, things of that nature, and succeeding.
All right. And what are some of the? Because you said you see in the media that there's a lot of good things, bad things going on at HBCUs, or do you mean college in general?
Just in general.
In general. All right. So then, what are some of the negative experiences that you, or just negative things that you've seen or experienced at HBCU?
The negatives? I don't really get out much, so I don't really know a lot of negatives except for like the business aspect kind of shaky as far as financial aid, like trying to get that resolved. They kind of give you the runaround, and when it's time to register, they still give you the runaround. Other than that, I mean, I've had a great experience.
Could you elaborate more on financial aid and the negative experience that? Because I know you're definitely not the only student that feels that way, experience that exactly. But could you elaborate more on the issue with financial aid at your particular institution?
Well, the financial aid office here, it's like they try to help you out, but when you go to one office, they tell you to go to the next office. Then they tell you, I don't know why you sent us here, you need to be going there. Then we go there, they say, oh, well, you should have been going to the original office that you went to. You go back. And it seemed like, okay, now they got answers. Like, they just send you in complete circles, but eventually they get it resolved.
All right, so where do you think that issue stems from? That issue with the aid stems from within the university?
Probably just being a little unorganized because there's so many people, so many students, so many things they have to deal with as far as like loans, things of that nature. And then students not being cooperative with certain things that actually kind of hurt financial aid in the long run too, and that's about it.
Right. So do you feel as though maybe these institutions, or maybe even this one in general, cannot necessarily handle or accommodate the amount of students that they have at the university, and
they can,
especially financially?
They can, but it take time now, and then the office is so small and they have so few workers that it's kind of hard to maintain it in a organized, quickly fashion. That's why it seems to take more time.
And I know, well, with HBCUs, one of the problems that they have is that they do not get enough funding. Well, to better ask this question, what do you think about with the funding that the HBCUs gets from the federal government, says about the universities, or how they are actually able to operate on a daily basis?
We are definitely underfunded. If we were funded better, I wouldn't have to pay so much money. And these out-of-state fees are ridiculous. But the funding from the government is just, I don't know, maybe they feel that we got money or something, because it's not that it's too little, but they're not giving us enough to actually give us what we need. It's different buildings that need remodeling, things of that nature. But with the different cost of things, we don't really have it.
All right. And do you think that the administration issues that lie with financial aid and that aspect of financial aid, do you think that that's at all universities, not just HBCUs, but PWIs as well, or is this just mainly an issue that is faced at historically black colleges?
Oh no, that's everywhere. I don't know. Financial aid has just always been a problem everywhere. Even when I attended like a community college that wasn't historically black, I still had a little problem with financial aid. But so yeah.
So you've attended another school before?
Yes.
What school did you attend before?
I attended Livingstone College, and I also attended Schoolcraft Community College.
All right, and both of those were PWI, or just one of those?
One was HBCU, and the other one was technically, I guess you could say, PWI.
Okay, and why do you think well, especially if you've had the same issue with the other universities and the PWI that you attended for a little while, why do you think that HBCUs, they're more focused on in the media when it comes to lack of funding, the financial aid aspect, and how students cannot get enough money, but PWIs, do you really see that in the media where they're talking about that with PWIs? Or if not, why do you think that they're more so focused on the financial aspect with the HBCUs, but not PWIs who might go through the same thing?
They like to shed a bad light on our African American culture in the media for some reason. And well, that's just how I feel. But I don't know, maybe they don't want to aim the name of different PWIs, because I don't know, but yeah, that's.
And where do you think why do you think that they want to shed that negative light on the black culture and the things like HBCUs that's associated with that culture?
I've been trying to figure that out for a long time. It's crazy because, I don't know, they make us look like we bad people, and they say we don't do nothing, but when we try to do good, it's still a problem. I don't know. I never understood why the color of our skin really mattered, but it seemed to, because in any aspect, whether it's school, whether it's regular life, they gonna always find a negative in African American culture before anything else.
All right, and do you think that the lack of media coverage on the HBCU experience has influenced people's perceptions of the institution?
Yes and no. Yes, because you just don't know what goes on without the media nowadays, because that's just how life works. But no, because a lot of students still say, okay, well, I'm going to go try it out, even though I don't necessarily know firsthand about it.
Well, what are some images that you've seen in media of HBCUs so far?
Sonny Boom of the South, if that count. I've seen a lot of band-related things. And like if somebody famous like Barack Obama or Michelle Obama, or anybody like that is at a graduation, they say, oh well, such and such is at such and such for whatever, or if they're having a conference or something like that. Generally, you don't see a lot of colleges on the news though. Well, like the national news.
All right. And for the coverage do you know of any maybe shows or movies that you've seen that puts out an image of the experience of HBCUs?
You got a lot of college movies like Drumline. The movie was terrible, but I guess it give you a look at it. You got Stump the Yard too.
But those movies, what aspects of HBCU do they portray?
It was supposed to quote unquote portray a marching band experience, the marching band life, and how the campus can influence that. And Stump the Yard too. I think it was supposed to expose Greek life, somewhat, something like that.
Well, then why are marching band and Greek life the main focuses of HBCU experience in certain forms of media when it comes to movies and television shows? Why do you think they focus on the band in Greek life?
Because that's what a lot of people, I don't know, it's just entertaining to see, like, people step, people stroll, and it's entertaining to see the band do a field show or play at another band or do a dance routine.
All right, and so even if we step back and we look at the news, how we're portraying the news, even if they're, like CNN, for example, about 3 years ago, Don Lemon, they were talking about HBCUs in the crisis they go through, and if they are actually still needed here. Do you think why do you think they look at HBCUs as why are the institutions still here and they're not really needed and they're not performing at the level they need to?
That's not necessarily true, and because we produce some of the top black male teachers uh, here at Jackson State. Um, and just in general, historically black colleges are just needed just to give you that culture, that richness, that it give you a little bit of diversity too, but it also, I don't know, just attending one humbles you, honestly too, because it's like, well, I could have easily went to University of Michigan or University of South Carolina or somewhere like that, but going to a different school where you look at the campus, even the building structure is different. Like you see a building, maybe our music building look one way, but at the PWI they look a different way, and like that actually influences on how you produce too.
So can you explain that a little bit more with what you said, the campus and actually 10-to-1, it kind of humbles you, and when you're actually here, it humbles you. Can you explain and expand on that a little bit more, how exactly it's a humbling experience attending HBCU rather than going to University of Michigan or South Carolina?
You can easily find up north of PWI. It's like, okay, they are everywhere, but it's hard to find HBCU up north. Well, at least in Michigan, you got a couple. Like you got a Central State in Ohio, but it's like attending when you don't have an over cockiness about it, because you know, like, well, I actually got to work hard. I got to go hard. I got to do my homework. I got to do all this. And when you finally get that degree, you say, okay, well, I'm thankful for the experience that I had.
Mm-hmm. Well, then why, when it comes to HBCUs, do you think the media tends to focus on the fact that, because you think that they're great institutions, so why do you think that media tends to focus on the fact that, oh, they aren't needed, they are no longer needed in the society?
I don't know how they figured they're not needed, because I mean, we have populated them, but I don't know. The media just feel like, I don't know, maybe they feel PWIs need more students or more money or something, because HBCUs are definitely needed, and I don't know what I would have did without attending the HBCU, to be honest, because I don't know, I feel out of place at a PWI for some reason.
And why would you feel out of place?
I don't know, because it's like for every, well, probably 2 black students, probably about a good 10 white students. Then you come up with the problem of racism, because a lot of PWIs have a lot of interracial issues. I know they do. At least in Michigan they do. So yeah.
So do you think HBCUs do you think if there's racial tension at these PWIs, do you think that's kind of where HBCUs play a part? Mm-hmm. Are they like the...
Yeah, they would make it a common ground, because you can't be racist against black people at a black college. Like it just doesn't work. You don't hear about a lot of craziness like you do in the other schools, like with the shooting and whatnot, because the culture here is just different. Like you're not just gonna hear about nobody coming to Jackson State University and shooting up the campus, unless it's somebody crazy, I guess.
All right. And so, have you ever heard of the Cosby Effect?
No.
Okay, so I'll explain that to you. So the Cosby Effect, from a academic journal that I've read from two professors at Howard University, they studied the Cosby Effect a little bit, and that's basically where Bill Cosby in the 80s and 90s, his show, Cosby Show, in a Different World, they basically opened up doors in a sense for HBCUs. They made them, they provided, while in the media they weren't really getting any play in the media, any feedback, and they weren't looked at as great institutions. The shows provided a platform for these institutions and convinced people, well, students at the time, to go to college, more specifically to HBCU. What do you think? Have you ever seen A Different World or The Cosby Show?
Yeah, Different World, Cosby Show. They kind of did it on Martin and the Fresh Prince too. Those different shows like that. That actually do help Like you can like, oh, okay, well let me, he got on a Jackson State shirt. Well, let me look into that. Or he got on a FAMU shirt. Well, let me see what they about. So that actually could influence somebody.
So do you think that these shows providing that media, they're actually helping the universities are actually getting them a knowledge and notice?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, and then what ways with experience? Because if we take a different word, for example, they were set at the fictional University Hillman College. What do you think that these that show portraying the experience of the students and the different types of students that attend the university and how the university is structured and how it's ran? What do you think that said about the experience? Do you think it portrayed it accurately, or?
Different World does portray college life accurately. You find love. You gotta get good grades. You go through life. And you have friends. You make friends. You just go through a change. You really do change while you're in college.
Well, then, what do you think the message of A Different World, for the Cosby Show, but mainly A Different World, was? What do you think their message was about HBCUs?
To get out, explore, find new things about them, and when you attend, just be great.
All right. And have you ever seen School Days?
It's a little bit of it.
A little bit of it. All right, but so do you know at all what the movie is about?
No, I can't remember.
All right, so we're going to leave School Days alone. We'll leave that one alone. All right, so do you think desegregation has had a negative influence on the culture and growth of historically black colleges?
Do I think desegregation has had a negative effect on HBCUs?
Know that they're letting other ethnicities and minorities into these institutions.
Oh, that's not a problem. Simply because we don't have problems with people. People just seem to have problems with us, I guess. But it also gives you a good platform because it makes it more diverse. You learn about different cultures, because in the real world, you don't have to work with more than just one type of person. So.
And so, do you think that the institutions, rather the HBCUs, when they're letting other minorities in, and especially like say every year we see more of other ethnicities here. Mm-hmm. Do you think that letting these minorities in, can we still keep the title as a HBCU?
Yes, because we were founded for the black students. But just because you have a different culture doesn't necessarily change the way the school is ran. Because you still gonna have at least five African American students to every one or two different cultures. Mm-hmm. So we would still quote unquote run the yard, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, so why do you think that the experience at HBCU will still be the same, even though they're no longer segregated, they're desegregated?
Can you repeat the question?
Why do you think that the experience at HBCU, the HBCU experience, how it's ran, it will still be the same, or do you even think it will still be the same, even though we are desegregating?
I think it would be the same because, they're not going to be able to change the overall culture and atmosphere that has been set here from generations of students.
Okay. And so do you think that historically black colleges and universities cultivated an increase of pride and self-esteem in you?
Yes, it did. I don't know why. It's just like when people say, what school you go to? Oh, I go to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. I get excited because, I don't know. It's just, I have no idea. I just really get excited.
Well, just think about it for a minute. Why do you think it excites you and your self-esteem is boosted by university? What do you think are some of the aspects that could have possibly boosted your self-esteem and influence your cultural experience at the university?
Probably like the overall experience. Like it just helps you. It just helps you mature as a person. Going to a HBCU in my eyes, uh, throughout the years, because you experience different things. You go through different things, and that's about
All right, and so do you feel like that? Do you feel like that sense of pride comes from maybe how these universities are arbitrating the media, and we're kind of like the underdogs. So making it at these universities and actually being here and seeing what it's really about. How do you feel that promotes a sense of pride at HBCU?
It's just like, yeah, we will be considered technically the underdog. So when I graduate and my papers say Jackson State University and I'm going to a job interview with somebody else who say University of Southern Mississippi or something, I just feel like, okay, well, at the same time, we still on the same level. So, that, but I know I was more geared for the real world because we do a lot of like real life experiences here. Like you just can't get it nowhere.
Okay. And so do you feel like if you go on that job interview and the person you're interviewing with, or even the company, there's no one there that has attended HBCU, they don't know much about themselves or what they see in the media. Do you think that in a sense could hinder the job you get because they don't think that because you attend HBCU you might not be as well qualified?
Not necessarily, because the proof is in the pudding. Like your resume speaks for itself. Just because you attended a school doesn't mean your qualifications are at that school's level. Your qualifications will be above it. Just because you went to Harvard and I went to Jackson State doesn't mean that we are two different. We on two different levels.
Okay. And do you think historically black colleges are still relevant today?
Yeah, definitely. We have colleges all over the world now. So like, and I really haven't heard of any closing, or if there have been some
I
closing.
think other than I think Morris Brown was the only university, was the only HBCU to get closed.
Yeah, like we got a lot of rich culture in it, and it's definitely relevant. Like our ancestors fought for us to have this right, and now it's our time to take it.
All right, so then why were HBCUs actually founded and started in the first place?
Because back in the day, we weren't allowed at white colleges. They really didn't start allowing us till we started beating them in sports, honestly. So then they kind of started recruiting us for their sports teams and whatnot.
All right, so then if back then they were, so you're saying that they were founded because that's all that we couldn't get it anyplace else. So then knowing that now we can go to PWIs and we can attend and get a good education there as well as we can get probably at HBCU. Mm-hmm. So then why do they still need to be around?
Simply because it's just mad love here. At a PWI, you're not going to get the same student-teacher interaction that you would get here. Teachers there are more so, okay, we're going to bow. But here it's like, they want to teach you about life. Like, they want you to experience things. They'll tell you life lessons, but they'll also show you and how you do something that will make you experience life in a different way.
All right, so then if it's the interactions, other than interactions with a professor, let's say you go to a smaller liberal arts PWI, for example, that has maybe like 2,000 students, you might be able to get that same interaction. So other than the interactions with the bonds and relationships that you're building with your professors, what else does the HBCU provide that you're not going to get at a PWI?
Your friends.
Just leave on that.
We all know there's a difference between African Americans and white people. So like the overall friendship that you have, you're not gonna have the same friendship with Billy. Sorry. That you would have with Daquan. Again, sorry. Uh, so yeah, like it's just meeting people down here. It just I ain't gonna say it changes you, but it makes you look at things different because you know people grow up differently, but you find that you have a lot more in common with somebody like that's like, oh, hey, I'm black, you black, we going to Jackson State University. Oh, okay, I love this, you love this. Oh, all right, cool. Now we cool for the rest of our life and whatnot. But as to a PWI, you be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. All right, I go here, you go here. Okay, cool. All right, now what? It's just the I don't know, the atmosphere to me is just different. Cause I visited PWIs, but it's just like kinda all right. This is ooh.
So, what type of, can you explain a little bit more, like what type of people have you met at HBCU?
I met a lot of fun, outgoing people, but I also met a lot of serious people. Uh, and they both go hand in hand because you can't be like just work. Work. Sorry, I had to finish that. But you also can't be all play. So by being at HBCU, you had that mindset of okay, well, I got to get my work done because I want to graduate. I want to get out of here. I don't want to spend no more money. But when that weekend comes where, okay, well, I don't have a test till Wednesday. Okay, well, now we can have fun. But I don't know. I'm gonna leave that one right there.
All right. So then, I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit. When you were in high school, did you go to high school like a high school majority African American students, or were you okay? So I know sometimes people don't. If you go to school with majority black students, you don't want to go to HBCU because you're like, well, I've already been there, done that. I went to high school all black kids. Or and I know some students that go to HBCUs, they really weren't around their own race. So in the aspect of you going to, even though you went to school with mainly all black students, was coming to a HBCU different, or was it very similar in a sense?
It was similar because I already knew what to expect, but it was also different at the same time because I experienced some characters here at the same time.
So do you think that and the relevance issue that they're as that even because PWIs, while you do have a majority white population, of course, you still have a lot of other races and ethnicities there. So do you feel as though you were still, and they have diversity, and they say HBCUs lack diversity, but do you think that do you feel as though they lack diversity, or are we still diverse?
We are definitely diverse, because you could look at our baseball team in general, because that's a couple black people on the team. Everybody else is like different races. Our softball team, volleyball team. We have a nice mix of people here. We don't just have black, white. We have black, white, Arab, Mexican, Spanish, Hispanic. We have everything here. So yeah, we have a nice diverse culture.
But do you think diversity is just the color of your skin, or
diversity can be not just the color of your skin, but how you view things, your culture, your religion, things of that nature.
So then, being at an HBCU, that is probably 95% of students here are African American. Mm-hmm. Do you feel as though that the diversity is in how, like, you learn stuff from your other African American friends, the other African American students in your class, because y'all came maybe from similar or different backgrounds? Y'all have like well, to better explain that for you. knowing that you're going to HBCU, so it's we're majority black.
Yes.
So if diversity isn't just about skin color, and it's also about your culture and the different experiences that everyone has, different things everyone has experienced. Do you think that we present that in diversity here?
Yes, because I mean, you don't just learn from one particular person. Most people here interact with different groups of people, so we learn and we share and we take and absorb and we reproduce off that all that knowledge that we took from all the different cultures.
All right, and how does that play into why HBCUs are still relevant?
It's still relevant because it's just not African Americans that's attending them. We have different cultures, different ethnicities, backgrounds, all that, and they just the overall sacrifice that was made for us to have them was just unexplainable. Like, so many people gave their lives for us to be able to go to school, and these were founded so that we can have that way of, okay, well, now y'all have the route to take the route to school or to education.
Well, I mean, now that this is that, like I said, we're allowed in these other institutions now. Don't you think that attending HBCU, you can still have the name say that you were HBCU, and at this time your mission was to serve African Americans who weren't allowed in these other institutions, other universities, and weren't really allowed to get education at the time. So do you think we can have that? You can have that in the history books that you were HBCU, but now conform to how all the other universities in the United States are, and you don't.
Why conform? Why not be different? Being different is what makes people people. If we all had one type of shoe, would we all be the same? I mean, it all depends on how you look at it. Because attending the PWI wouldn't necessarily be beneficial to everybody, but it could be different for somebody that wanted to go to a school surrounded by their own.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I would like to thank you for this interview again.
No problem.
It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
And do you have anything else you would like to clarify, or any other questions you may have?
I'm not racist. That's all I had to say.
That is okay. We know.
Had to be sure.